Hello and welcome to the Getting Started video for my online class. It's MBA512 Strategic Planning or Business Planning and Strategic Management, the full formal name. And I'm here to explain to you the basics of how this online class works. Okay, so the first announcement I posted is getting started. So in this is a video syllabus I'm going to record to help you get started with the class. The class works off of this Blackboard menu here. So the first area is announcements, which we're in right now. And this is where I post important announcements and reminders during the class to keep you informed of any important information or changes that may occur. The second posting is our course schedule. Now, our course schedule is sort of like our class schedule, and online classes are different than offline classes, but I'm going by the fact that an offline class in the winter meets 4 times a week for about 3.5, 4 hours. So this course schedule is basically what we'll be doing if we were in that class time. The majority of our time would be one, listening to me talk. So I have these video lectures set up here. And for the video lecture for chapter 1, what you want to do is you want to cut and paste this lecture into its own web page or browser. So you can come up to here and you'll see my lecture, and I'll play it. And I'm just the same thing I would be doing in class. You would watch my lecture, and go back to the Blackboard. So that substitutes as far as me lecturing in class. You can watch it online through these YouTube, and since everybody knows how to work YouTube, I recorded these lectures and uploaded them to YouTube. So those are the links. And for class 1, you should read chapter 1, watch the Blackboard link to lecture for chapter 1, and start working on this week's discussion question. Class 2 will be moving on to chapter 2, and I have 2 lectures for chapter 2. And you're still working every day. You're working on the discussion board. So get in the habit of 4 times a week you're going to be working on the discussion boards. You're going to be posting original posts and making replies. So it's a daily classroom activity, and it's usually, I think our class works Tuesday through Friday or Monday through Friday, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, so for week 1 we have 4 class sessions, and we cover chapter 1 through 4, and I created 5 lectures for you to watch during week 1. And then week 2 we move on to the rest of one of 2 books we're working on, and the same format. I record and post the video lectures, you watch them, you participate in the discussion boards, and then week 3, halfway through week 2 and all of week 3, we move on to the second book, Blue Ocean, and here I have 2 video lectures to watch, one by a guest lecturer, who's exciting, and then the last week I have MP3 audio lectures that you can listen to that will give you a complete overview of the Blue Ocean textbook. And this is great because these MP3 files, which you can find under course documents, there's something that you can download, listen to on your iPod while you're at the gym, or in your car while traveling to work, and things of that nature. Okay, and a special note, in week 3 there is an online final exam that opens up on January 20th and closes on the 25th. So this is sort of our class work. Now, assignments is different. We have the assignments area, and in here I post a series of assignments. Now, the first assignment is the discussion board participation. Now, the discussion board, I'm setting up 6 discussion boards that are discussion questions that you need to answer, and there are 2 per week. I expect you to make 1 original post and post at least 3 replies to other students' posts. And usually these posting and replies are between 100 and 200 words. And you earn points as you participate. So let's look at we'll come back to assignments, but let's look at the discussion boards here. When you come into the discussion board area, you can see that I have the discussion boards already set up here. And in the discussion boards, just move this down a little bit. Okay. In the discussion boards, the first discussion board I have set up is just for class questions. So in here, this is where you would ask me questions. I set 1 thread up already, and I asked, so in the thread I asked, what are online office hours, how do they work, and then I replied and answered myself as an example. Now, for discussion question 1, I ask a question, and the question is, what company do you think has the best strategy? Why? Please describe and explain. And I asked, please make at least one original post and 3 replies to the discussion. And we have between Monday, January 6th to Friday, January 10th to do this. And your answer should be, it can be anywhere from, I say 100. I guess your original posting should be 200 to 300, and your replies should be 100 to 200 words long. Now, I would like you to make your original postings on Monday and Tuesday so everybody could work on the replies Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, I would like you to ideally participate 4 days a week where you log into the discussion boards and you read or you post a reply 4 days a week. Now, if you do 3 days a week, that's also okay, but don't do any less than 3 days a week, because in the discussion board area, in order to keep the class discussion moving forward, I need you in there not just on Friday afternoon, the last 2 hours before it's due, because that's really not participating. I'm looking for you to have a presence on the discussion boards at least 3 days during the week, ideally 4 days during the week, posting original responses or replies on each of those days. Kind of think of it like this. On Monday and Tuesday, you could work on your original posts, and then Wednesday you post a reply, Thursday you post a reply, and Friday you post a reply, and you read everyone's discussion boards. And that's ideally how things should work. So when you click on the discussion board, you come into the discussion board area, and here I have already posted an example discussion board. And you can click on here, and you can see that it's a reply to my question. Now, I would like everyone to rate each of the discussion board posts. Rate the other students' posts so everybody gets an idea how people like their posts and how they're being how well they're being received. And then you can just put a nice reply here to anyone's post. You may want to ask a question or further elaborate onto what they have written. So it's fairly easy. Now, if you're in the discussion board area, to create your thread, when you're going to post your original post, you create a thread and you put your student name, Jane Doe as an example, and then you could put like I guess a brief description of your answer. If I'm looking for what company has the best strategy, maybe you put down I guess really any company. You can say maybe Apple. Everybody seems to talk, at least everybody wants to talk about Apple, but please do not duplicate responses. If one student has already posted a response, original posting about Apple, do not also choose that company. Try to be a little bit original. So here, you post your response, and then assume that I don't have time, but assume that I have 200 words here of my response, and I'm going to post submit my original response. So now it becomes one of the threads. And I'm going to actually, I'm going to modify this one real quick. Can I do that? I'm going to edit. So people know this is an example. Close that up. Let's go back to the discussion board. So I click in week 1. There are 2 posts. So when you make a reply, you click on, you should be reading everyone's original posts. Replies are made inside after you read someone's original post. You just click on reply and you say, my reply would be, looks like a bunch, it's like a mess. Clean this up. Just, because look, nothing is really written here, so there's my response. So then you could see the original post and the responses underneath of it. Okay. So that's basically how you complete the discussion board. And you can see there's Jane Doe and John Doe as 2 example students and 2 example posts. I'm going to actually delete this one since it was just nonsense. But I try to leave you at least one example so you get an idea of what I'm looking for. Okay. And you'll see that again, I would like you to make your original post on Monday or Tuesday and then use Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to reply to other students' posts. So that way we can make a real good class discussion here and learn the most. And you'll see that each week I have 2 discussion questions for a total of 6. So it's not an overwhelming amount of discussion questions, But each week I'm looking for you to, you know, be involved with the discussion, and that's how I'm going to grade you. So we have 20 points here, and if I feel that your your posts or your replies um, or your time spent in the Blackboard area discussion board, I do get a report from the discussion from Blackboard on the minutes you spend in the discussion board and how many posts you read and what you reply. Plus, I'm also in the discussion boards reading, sometimes replying to people's posts. So this is a cornerstone of this class. So I'm expecting you to spend, you know, a significant amount of time here because this is really is what's substituting for most of our class time. Okay, so let's go back to assignments. So that's one first big assignment is discussion board. Now I also have 4 case studies that we're going to work on, spread out through the 3 weeks. So I have the case on airline tickets, a case on Netflix, a case on Microsoft, and a case on Whole Foods. And these are all 4 brand new cases. So I'm sorry to disappoint you if you had a friend that took this class online last summer or winter and you think you could use their casework as an example. I switched things up and created new cases. Now, it's also a little bit different style here. So what we did here is these are, we're going to use peer assessments with these cases. So the first thing you do is you want to submit the case. So I have dates here. The first case, I need you to submit your response by January 10th. And that's simply you click on the View Complete Assessment, and then you'll see my questions here. And I'm going to go from the submission. Okay, so you're going to see my questions here, and you just click on question 1, and you're going to provide me a response to the 4 questions, and hit OK. Now, after January 10th, everyone's submissions will be submitted, and then you're going to go back in, and you have from January 11th to January 13th, and you're going to evaluate 2 other students. And this is anonymous, so you see student user 1 and user 2, and you're going to go in and evaluate. You're going to read their case, and you're going to peer assess their case and try. And basically, you're going to grade them. So you're going to give a, you'll see their response. This is an example, so it's not listed. So you'll see their response. Here's my criteria. 1 is to give a grade from scale 1 to 5 based on poor to excellent, and feedback on, you know, how you felt they did. So you would place your feedback in here. You know, be very, as the more specific you can, the better. That's not really very specific. And then you will put your grade in down here. And that's just criteria 1. There's also a second criteria, which is basically word count, to see if, you know, each paper I have an ideal word count, plus or minus 500, plus or minus 100 words. And basically, each question I'm expecting 100 words or more. So you're going to actually self-evaluate 2 other students' papers. So it's a unique type of assignment, something you've probably never done before. So each of these cases has 2 dimensions to it. The first dimension is you're going to answer the questions, and for each case, you need to go to course documents and case study documents. And here is the first case. I have it as a PDF in a Word file. So here is the first case, and I basically give you a quick. Here are the 4 questions I want you to answer, and then I have a rundown of a case, which is usually 1,000 words that are based a beginning of the topic. And what I'm looking for you to do is to do a little additional research. So we have this button here called, in the first case is on airline tickets, so I have this little button here called Library Resources that you can click on, and it opens up the library, and then you can go into databases. And one database I think that is really good is Factiva. LexisNexis is good also, but Factiva is more of a business-oriented database. And you can go in here, and you could put in some criteria. And this is basically doing a little research to help with your casework. So you don't want to just regurgitate what you read in my sample, in my case that I'm providing with the questions. You want to add to it some personal knowledge and maybe, I'm going to put in basic topic here, search for last year, and I'm going to search for additional articles that will expand my knowledge of the subject. And then these articles I'm going to read, I may quote from and post. Might have been a little too specific there. Open it up. So you should get, and there's like I said, the Factiva, LexisNexis. Okay, so here I got plenty of additional articles to read that I can also reference in my paper. So when you answer these case studies, you're answering the questions and you're using three sources. One, your personal knowledge. Two, the case study I attached to the questions. And three, some little additional research that you may do on Google or using the library and the databases that we have in the library. Now, another good database besides Factiva that I find pretty useful is this EBSCO host. I'm going to open this up, and it's another good database. So I'm just going to hit select all and continue. And this is more of an academic database. So I'm just going to put in some keywords to what I'm looking for. And then I get a number of articles from magazines and academic research about pricing in the airline industry. So here are two great databases that you could use to supplement your answers for the case. Because I'm looking for the cases to be, like I said, personal information that you may know from your experiences flying, some of the information, the overview case I provided you on the course documents, research that you look up through LexisNexis or the other database I showed you. And also any content or information from the textbooks or lectures we talk about. So those are an area, a good area to get some information from. So what confuses people? They usually never had these assignments where they actually do a peer assessment of other students in the class. But this is an MBA level class, so I think students should get a decent amount of feedback, not just from me, but from each other. And so get used to doing. It's basically two functions for each case. And the first one, of course, is you're going to complete the case. And to do that, you want to click on, that's just my functionality as a professor. You want to click on the, let's go into the professor mode. The assignment. And I have to go to the submission. This is what you'll see as a student when you click on it. That was a faculty thing. So you just underline where it says question 1. That's where you go in. And then I would write your stuff up in a separate Word document and then cut and paste into this text box. So in Word you can pull up a file. You can take your responses, cut and paste from Word, and then paste directly in this text box here, and then submit OK. And then after you've submitted your completion of the assignment, you wait till after the assignment is over on the 10th, right away at assignment's over at 11:30. At 12:30 a.m., an hour later, the evaluation will open up. And the dates are always listed right here, submission dates and evaluation dates. And you have until January 13th to complete this. And then you would go in and under the evaluation, like I said, you would have 2 student papers to read and evaluate based on those criteria I set up. Criteria 1 is a 5-point scale. So an excellent paper, you would get all 5 points, a paper that was well written. It was, not a first draft. All the answers were complete and well supported. You had some outside references and maybe some additional knowledge information from the textbooks or lectures. And everything has a proper citation format. So if you're pulling information from other sources, it's properly referenced and cited. And that's really critical. And also that the paper comes in within a reasonable expected word count. So those are the 2 criteria, and you grade each student based on those 2 criteria. Okay. Now what I do is, once the evaluation closes, I go in and I read each student's paper, and I first evaluate it myself, and then I look at the other students' comments just to get an idea of what they're saying. These comments are mostly for you, not for me, though. So I'm not using the other students' comments or grading to affect how I grade, because I'm going to grade first, and then I will look at them just because I'm curious. But those peer evaluations are really for you to get an idea of what you did wrong, and use or what you did right, and use that information to improve your next attempt. So then the next case we'll pick up here, where on January 14th, this case will start. And so you have until January 14th to submit the case, and then an evaluation period will open up from January 15th to the 18th. And then when that evaluation period closes, a new case opens. So it's sort of continuous. You start on the 10th, submitting your first case, then on the 11th you complete the evaluation between the 11th and the 13th, and then after that evaluation period is closed, then you can start working on the next case, and the next evaluation will open. So it's very time oriented, so you should just keep an idea of the times of your submission. You can always submit early, but you can only evaluate during the evaluation period. And if you don't evaluate other students, that would be a reason for me to deduct points for your grade. So you may have done a perfect case, but you neglected to evaluate other students' cases, and that's part of the requirements of completing these peer evaluations. And this is all to provide students with additional and more feedback on their work, so that way they can make a continuous improvement as they go through each of these 4 cases. In the last case, so with over 3 weeks, you're going to be writing and submitting 4 cases to me: airline tickets, Netflix, Microsoft, and Whole Foods. And you'll also be going to be evaluating 2 other students' cases for each of these 4 cases. So you're going to have to read and evaluate 8 other cases that students submitted. And this would be a great way for us to really enhance our learning experience and improve our writing skills. And you will also get an independent grade from me for my interpretations of how your case went and what I think you could do better. Now, so those are some big assignments. Each case, the first case is worth 7 points. The second case is worth 7 points. The fourth case, Microsoft, is a double case, so that's 14 points, and the third case is Whole Foods, which is another 7 points, for a total of 35 points for the cases. Now, I also have another assignment, which is called the Zoom simulation, and this assignment is something I talk about through most of the lectures, and it's the chance for you to deploy and to utilize strategy. So you're going to run a company, and you're free to work by yourself, teams of 2 or 3. So if you have a couple of friends in the class, you can join up and you can work together, and I would recommend that. It will definitely make this assignment much easier. If you don't have any friends, or you prefer to work alone because of your schedule, or that's fine too. You can work by yourself. And I'm going to go create a separate video to show you how the Zoom simulation, how to get started with that after this video. So look forward to that. I'm going to post that for you. If you've already used the simulation, I know some other professors in the past, not really, I think I'm only one using it at the graduate level in the past year, but if you have used it before, you don't have to pay twice. You can email the company and ask for them to reset your account. I've had some students tell me that that's possible, so I wouldn't want anybody to pay twice for this. Okay, and then you have your final exam, and that is last week. This will open up on Monday at 6 a.m. on January 20th and close on the 25th at 10 p.m. So you do have a final exam worth, I believe, 25 points. Okay, so there's your assignments. Not too bad, right? You have discussion boards, you have 4 case studies, plus evaluations, and a Zoom simulation. Whew, that's a lot. Now let's move on down to course documents. In course documents, I have, because people like examples, I have an example case here, where here's a case with example case, an example article, and an example student response with proper citation and for each of the 4 questions. So if you want an idea of how to respond, this is an example response. Okay. I also have all the case studies backed up here, and you can see that I have there's 4 case studies. I have them in Word documents, and I also have them in PDFs, depending on what you prefer. And we have here the Blue Ocean backup of the Blue Ocean PowerPoints. I also have the Kellogg's strategy PowerPoints. The Blue Ocean PowerPoints are all backed up here under course documents. So those are the notes. Those are actually the PowerPoints that go over in the videos. Here are the Blue Ocean audio lectures. We're listening to the last week and a half of class. And here is the syllabus. So the syllabus, I recommend everybody read over the syllabus. And basically there are 2 textbooks that you should buy here. These 2 textbooks, which I'm going to send everybody an email with this video syllabus and recommend that you buy these books as early as possible, and even get started with. I'm going to open the class up early so you can get started early, because this is a lot of work and you may be working or you may have family, so I'm going to open the class up early. So if you want to get jump start on case 1 or case 2, you can start working on that, even discussion board 1. And in the syllabus here, I just go over the course description, our learning goals, our class time. I will be having online office hours using SB Connect, and those are on Tuesdays from 2 to 3 p.m. And SB Connect is this button right here. You click on this, you log in using your net ID, the same ID that you would use to log into Blackboard, and then you enter the room, click OK, and this is basically a way that we can meet together. You can meet me for an hour during the week if you have any questions or problems. I find that with this, the video doesn't work well, the audio doesn't work well, so primarily we work in the chat room. And that's where we kind of talk back and forth in the chat room here. Audio and video are very poor in SB Connect, but so here's a live area where you can ask me questions and we can chat back and forth. And that's SB Connect, and it's only open on Tuesdays from 2 to 3 p.m. or by special appointment. So we have 2 textbooks for the class. We have Kellogg's on Strategy and Blue Ocean. Both books are usually less than $20 that you can buy on Amazon or the bookstore. The assignments on Blackboard, your grades are, the discussion boards are 20 points, which I call participation. The mini casework, the 4 mini cases, is 35 points. Online exam is 20 points, and the Zoom simulation, the online exam is 25 points, and the Zoom simulation is 20 points. And here's how the points magically turn into a letter grade. Okay, so then I have a notation here on participation and academic dishonesty and things of that nature. So this is a pretty clear-cut syllabus that you can look at. So let's quickly review before I end here. We have assignments, announcements, which kind of highlight things, information I want you to be aware of. I have a course schedule. This is what you're going to follow on a day-to-day basis of how you should keep up with the classwork. I have your assignments tab where all the assignments are located, and we're going to do all the assignments through this assignment tab, with the exception of the Zoom simulation, which you're going to go to a separate website. The website is listed, and the class code, I'm going to make a separate lecture to explain that. Now, with the Zoom simulation, we're going to be processing 6 rounds. And these rounds, your score in the simulation can convert to points. So I'm going to go over that in the other video. We also have our course discussions, our discussion board, where we're going to be interacting in discussions. And in class documents, I back up all of the syllabus, all of the case study documents, the class notes, and MP3 lectures for you, as well as an example of a case. Now remember, one important thing is when you do submit the casework, that I want you to submit the casework as cutting and pasting it into the text box provided. So you click on question 1 and there's a text box. Don't attach a file, just cut and paste it into this text box. It'll make it easier for everybody when they do their peer evaluations and when I grade it later. Okay, all right, so that's my quick how to get started with this online class. I hope you enjoyed this and it was informative. Look forward to how to get started with the Zoom simulation, which I'll be posting right after this. Okay, thanks. Take care.